newest member of the Texas Sports Hall of Fame.
Wow. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. This is pretty nice. It's pretty sweet. First and foremost, I want to say it's an honor to be here tonight. You know, to sit here amongst the inductees, it's pretty incredible. You know, coming from humble beginnings, a little small town of Palestine, Texas, with dreams to not only play football, but be the best person I can be, not only on the field. And what I was sitting there watching these highlights, and it kind of reminded me of when I first started playing this game. You know, I think about when I was 7 years old, and I never forget this. It was early in the morning, and my grandmother, she was outside, and she was watering her plants. And my grandfather, he was on the couch, and he had his crossword puzzles. That's all he used to do. And I'm sitting there, believe it or not, I was drinking coffee at the age of 7. And I remember she yelled through the screen door. She said, "Adrian, your dad is outside." So I run to the door, and only thing my dad says is, "Boy, go put some shoes on and come on." So I go in the house, I run back in the house, I put my shoes on, and I go down, hop in the car. I'm like, "So where are we going, Dad? Where are we going?" Just ride, I got you. So, okay, I knew he was up to something. So we drive about 10 minutes, and this area where we were, it looked familiar, but he made a right. And I'm like, I've never been down this road before, but it was by the Palestine Civic Center. And he makes a right, and it's a wooded area, and out of nowhere you see baseball fields and football fields. It was the complex, the Palestine complex. And I remember him driving up to the, what's it called? Where the equipment and stuff was. I remember him driving up, and it was nothing but kids, and they were trying on helmets and shoulder pads, and for me, it was just like a deer in the headlights. My eyes just lit up, you know, and for me, that's when the journey really started. That's when the journey really started for me. And so I say all that to say, Dad, I really appreciate you. You know, I really appreciate you because you were the one that taught me the fundamentals of the game. I remember being outside of the house, you showing me which one to put up, you know, which leg to step with, all the holes, you know, instilling that toughness and that grit in me, and just the mindset to always grind and never allow anyone to outwork you know, so I've always had that mentality. So ironically, the first team I played for, it was the Oilers. You know, I grew up a Cowboys fan, so I played for the Oilers, and then when I advanced, my second 2 years, I played for the Cowboys. You know, so ironically, it kind of worked out that way, which was really cool. But the thing that's really dear to my heart is the relationships that you're able to build when people are brought into your life. You know, this sports in general, especially football, because there's so many guys, you know, within a locker room or on a team, but you're able to build that camaraderie in relationships with individuals. And Steve Udi is an individual. He's here. You raise your hand, Steve. That's Steve right there. But he's the individual that played a big role. And so I just want to tell you, thank you, Miss Roberta. Thank you as well for everything you guys have done for me and my family. It means the world. You know, me and Steve, we've hit the highway several times going down to visit University of Texas, Texas A&M, LSU. You know, you hop in that van, and we was humping down that highway, making it happen. So I just want to let you know that I really appreciate you and everything that you and your wife have done for me and my family, and you continue to do. You know, your family, you know that. I heard that Coach Tunsil was here. I want to say hello to these guys and Coach Alec. Coach Tunsil, they here? They in the back. How y'all doing? Appreciate you guys too. So Coach Harold couldn't make it. He was my my head coach in high school, but we got a couple other assistant coaches back there. So saying what's up to these guys. But Coach Harold really played a big role in my life as well. A lot of people don't know this, but going into I had transferred schools from Westwood. I went to Westwood my 8th and 9th grade year. That's a crosstown school that's in Palestine, smaller school. And my sophomore year, I ended up going back to Palestine. And I remember having a conversation with my mother, because they put me on JV. Can you believe that? They put me on JV. But the funny thing is, we used to practice against the varsity, and I used to run through the varsity defense. And, you know, I don't know what it was about that coach that was there, Coach Thompson from was it Orange Star? Yeah, that guy. But the guy didn't like me. So I made a decision that I was going to hang up the cleats, and I was just going to run track, because I ran track in high school as well. My mom, you know, she was a sprinter. She won a couple of state championships and went to the University of Houston. And that's where I get my speed from. My dad said I get it from him too, but I think I'm going to ride with my mom on this one. Anyway, so I really had made it up in my mind that I was going to run track, and I wasn't going to play football anymore. And I remember the junior year, summer tour days had started, and I was resting. I was at the house, and my stepdad, he comes up with the phone in his hand, and he wakes me up, and I put the phone to my ear, and it's my dad. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, I'm asleep. He said, "Haven't you guys started tour days?" I'm like, "Yeah, but you know, I'm not feeling it this year. I'm just going to focus on track, and that's the direction I'm gonna go." He was like, "Boy, if you don't get if you don't get up and get your butt up to that school, I'm gonna call, and I'm gonna speak with Coach Harold, and if you tell me you haven't been up there to talk to get back on this team, I mean, you're gonna have an issue." I said, "Okay, I definitely don't want an issue with my dad. I don't want an issue." And I remember him telling me, he was like, "Adrian, now I understand you can choose and do what you want, but I don't want you to miss out on this opportunity, because I know that you are the best running back in the country." He said, "I know that you are the best running back, but no one else knows right now. You got to get up and you got to want it. You know, you got to get up and you got to want it." He understood that there was a change of guard, a different head coach coming in, and that's something I always look back on, you know, because that really opened my eyes and it motivated me. You know, it really motivated me. So I ended up going back, and of course, Coach Harold, he was actually my track coach as well. Gave me the opportunity to compete and work for that job, and I was able to win. I was able to win that job, and I think it was like week 3, we played Huntsville, and ironically, Coach Thompson, he was the head coach there. And I went for 305 yards and 6 touchdowns. And that just happened to be the game that put me on the map. And about midway through that season, they had me ranked the #1 player in the country, and I stayed that way throughout the senior year. But I always look back on that, and you know, it's a blessing. But the people that were surrounding me, you know, really, you know, impacted me and helped me get through. Because it wasn't an easy road. You know, I struggled. Like I wasn't thinking about playing my sophomore year. But my mom, has always been my backbone, my #1 supporter, I just want to say thank you for everything you've done. You know, you're one of the main reasons that I'm in this position as well. Thanking Coach Harold, Coach Stoops. he called me yesterday. We talked about 10 minutes, and he was telling me he wasn't going to be able to make it, but gave me the congratulations. Now, I know there's a lot of Longhorns and Aggies in here and Bears, and they like, the number one question I get is, why did you go to Oklahoma? Why you leave the state? And I tell them, I said, listen, I remember going to, like when Priest, my uncle played with Priest and Ricky and those guys, they were cold. I remember going to watch them play, and I remember sitting outside of the stadium, waiting for my uncle to come out, and I'm looking, I'm like, I'll be back here one day. Like I was Texas all the way. But for the people that find themselves being mad at me about going to Oklahoma, this is what I'll say. If you're going to be mad at anybody, be mad at Coach Mack Brown. And this is why I say that. I sat in Coach Brown's office, and I asked him the same thing I asked everyone else. Coach Stoops, will I have the opportunity to come in and compete? Yeah, sure. Pete Carroll, will I have the opportunity to come in and compete for the starting job if I come? Yeah. Nick Saban, can I have the opportunity? Mack Brown, if I come here, will I have the opportunity to come in and compete for the starting job? He was like, well, Adrian, I'm not going to lie to you. Cedric Benson, he decided to come back for his senior year. So, we're going to be loyal to him and we're going to let him ride it out. But, after that, you can compete for it. I said, okay. I appreciate it. And that was it. I never told him that I wasn't coming. But that was the decisions that I made based off of that. So you guys can share that story just in case, or the people that didn't know, now you know, and you can share the story. Who else? My wife, Ashley. Just want to say I appreciate you for blessing me with 2 beautiful children, one on the way, and everything that you do to support our family and support me. I love you with all my heart. I feel like I'm missing somebody. The Minnesota Vikings organization for allowing my dream to come true, drafted me in 2007. I was blessed to play 10 years there and kind of bounce around, but it was just a blessing just to be in the NFL and have such a long career, and throughout the process just have so many people that love me and support me. And I also want to say to the Texas Sport Hall of Fame, I really appreciate it. This is amazing, something I'll never forget. And last and certainly not least, I give all honor and glory to God, because without him, this wouldn't be possible. And I tell everybody in here, just like having faith of a mustard seed. I look back and it's always amazing when I think about it, just how me coming from Palestine, Texas, and just going through the ups and downs, and still God always found a way to bless me and allow me to be prosperous. So I would tell you guys to always put God first. He won't ever give up on you. As long as you keep the faith and you keep running a race, He's going to always show up. God bless.